Have you ever wondered how, for 300,000 years, humanity thrived? Without a single school. Without a single textbook. Think about it. No curriculum. No grades. No teachers. Just a child. An adult. And the raw reality of life. The original school? It was simply imitation. A child would watch a mother nap flint, pick up a discarded flake, and try to copy her movements. This wasn't just playing around. This was high-stakes vocational training. Observe. Try. Fail. And repeat. Do you think this is actually the most natural way to learn? Unlike our modern classrooms, where knowledge is hidden in abstract books, their learning was visceral. By the time a child hit puberty, they had already internalized the collective manual expertise of their entire lineage. Every failure wasn't a mark on a paper. It was a physical limitation to be overcome. They learned through proximity, through repetition, the very tools that built the foundation of human civilization. Now, picture this. The sun has set. The world is pitch black. And the tribe is gathered around a simple fire. This wasn't just a break from the day. This was our first lecture hall. The elders told stories. But these weren't just myths. These were living databases. A single story could encode which plants are toxic, where to find water during a drought, which ancestral mistakes to never repeat. Think of this as the original Wikipedia, the original Google Maps, the original family tree, all rolled into one voice. When you need to remember a complex route, what do? Our ancestors did the same. They turned technical data into narrative. By wrapping critical survival information in stories, they ensured that data was memorable, engaging, emotionally resonant. Children learned to listen with absolute intensity, because the information they heard was literally the difference between life and death. In a world without writing, memory was everything. It turned every tribe member into a walking, breathing archive of human history. We tell children today, study first, then go work. But have you realized our ancestors had the exact opposite formula? They learned while they worked. Children weren't given lectures on how to be useful. They were given tasks, scaled to their ability. A 5-year-old might carry water. A 10-year-old would tend the fire. A teenager would join the hunt. Learning was embedded in doing. Mistakes had real-world consequences. And mastery was visible to everyone. This is the essence of true apprenticeship. When a 12-year-old was allowed to track small game, they weren't being graded. They were being trusted. This fostered a sense of agency that is rare in our modern artificial reward systems. They could see the direct impact of their labor. The meat on the fire. The warmth of the shelter. This feedback loop created a level of motivation that no report card could ever replicate. It wasn't just school. It was participating in the very act of survival. Here is a fascinating question. Was education a solo burden for parents? Absolutely not. In prehistoric bands, the entire village was the teacher. The grandmother hypothesis is crucial here. Postmenopausal women contributed enormously to knowledge transfer. They were the experts, freeing mothers to focus on immediate survival while they taught the children foraging, toolmaking, and social norms. Imagine if you had a village of experts teaching you simultaneously. One aunt might be a master weaver, while a grandfather was a genius at tracking. A child's education was multifaceted, drawing from the collective wisdom of the entire group. This communal structure acted as a safety net. If a child failed at a task, a mentor was always there to correct the technique and encourage another try. Education wasn't an individualistic pursuit of knowledge. It was a collective act of maintaining the tribe. We've lost this community-based learning inside our modern school walls. But isn't it worth asking what we left behind? Finally, let's talk about the rites of passage. Could we call this the world's first final exam? It wasn't a test on paper. It was a structured, high-stakes transition to adulthood where accumulated knowledge was tested under pressure. You had to prove you could apply everything you'd learned. Tracking, stamina, resourcefulness, all of it, during a moment of intense challenge. Passing meant you were no longer a child who followed. You were a master who could lead. This transition was marked by ceremony, anchoring the shift from a protected status to a contributing one. The intensity of these rites ensured that the skills were not just known. They were embodied. Today, we pass tests to earn degrees. But do those degrees give us the same raw self-efficacy that our ancestors gained through their initiation? It was a moment of profound transformation, one that defined an entire future existence. By integrating the emotional weight of initiation with technical mastery, our ancestors created a system of education that was impossible to forget. They understood that to truly learn something, it must be lived.